Hello friends, so I wanted to share a very quick video related to the current times we're living in about focusing on the solution. A lot of us have lost our way, okay, and everyone, we're like riding the waves of this ocean and we're all just figuring it out. But really, this is the time where you need to understand there are a lot of distractions, and the second thing, understanding that we have got to stop outsourcing our power to political parties, to industries, to celebrities, to experts. And the reason that this is important is because on some level your intuition knows that this is false, right? This artificial system that we term as the matrix or whatever you want to call it, right? And there is a consciousness which flows in you, which flows in me, which flows in the trees, which flows in the birds. And to connect back to our inherent consciousness, if you think about it, our ancestors weren't fighting on Twitter over some, I don't know, they were teleporting and they were, drifting, flying over the Himalayas. We have the different siddhis, right? And all these different things. And this all comes from Vedic sciences and the sciences across the indigenous peoples and ancient cultures across the world were very advanced for this reason. Now, in the modern world, what has happened is that they have separated matter from spirit. So no matter how much you really want to believe in the politicians or you really want to believe in the scientists, it's always going. There's always going to be a level of separation, right? It's not. And so the only person, guys, this is the message. The only person you can rely on is yourself. Okay, the only person that's ever going to create change is yourself. We need to actively start thinking we are the planet. Okay, we are the humans, we are, the ancient people, we are the wisdom keepers, we are the soul beings, we are the star beings. We come in many different forms, okay? And so we need to start thinking about what kind of future we want to create. And that could be as simple as, if you're frustrated, if you're struggling, think about some of the ways that you can make a tangible change. You don't need to start you can dream of big things now, but you don't need to you can do something small. It's about grounding into the practical reality. And this is what New Age spirituality has dissociated us into a large extent. And when I see these guys in Los Angeles and other places and whatever, I don't care. A lot of them, a lot of them are doing great work and 100% honor and value that. There are also people that, but there's always some level of, neo-colonialism. There's always some level of disconnect. Because, it's we're living in a bubble, right? What are the kind of the solutions to some of the very real things that, we have ignored, right? How do we preserve our ancient knowledge systems? How do we work on these different aspects and co-create. So this is the time where we need to start taking back our power. This is all just it's not just a cliche terms. You need to sit and really think about on a day-to-day basis, what do you do? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? What are you reacting to? Do you really think that, the things that have happened in the past 2 years have been in the benefit for humanity? Do you really think that people from the outside that make money from keeping you weak are trying to save you? Just tap into your journey of research, go beyond the media, everyone has their own journey, but, at the end of the day, truth does have objective facts. And you're not going to find it on the first page or even the 10th page of Google, right? So this is a time, guys, where we need to start thinking about every single decolonization, the food systems, right? The health systems, the economic systems, the education systems. Fine, to some extent, I totally agree with the point that we can make a change within the system, right? But to some extent, the system is. We also need to understand that have to first put our serenity first. That that we do genuinely have the power to create new systems. This is the only way things are going to change. Things and policies are going to change. Yeah, but that has to be a part of the overall process of you claiming your sovereignty, right? Then from that other things will flow. If that kind of makes sense, So all these practices, meditation, pranayama, all these things. Different sorts of ceremonies help us to really connect back to that intelligence inside of us, which is able to show us, it's able to guide us as to, where do we need to let go of dense energy, where can we change our patterns, where can we, and of course, no one is perfect, and it's not about trying to be perfect or anything like that, right? It's always, healing is a work in progress. I think that's the last thing that, I have to say about this is, guys, like, as much as there's a need for practical activism and things like this for things, however anyone feels called to show up in the world is their choice, but we need to also really start thinking about the inner activism. I think I've shared this before, but thinking about, are we, because we need, like my friend told me, we need to create Satyug in Kalyug, right? When we come back into the alignment, just think about the difference. On a day you wake up at 5 a.m. and you go out and the birds are chirping, you're in heaven, right? You're in bliss, you can hear the aarti. So you're in a beautiful, a state of being, right? And the birds have just woken up, right? And we know that the energetic frequency is very high between 3 and 5 in the morning. We know that, and then, so if we start to realign back with the cycles of nature, we start to realign back and understand that we have to, understand that our natural intelligence is really, the answer to everything, All these systems can be there to support us temporarily, but we must understand at the point at which we draw a line and we say no. Like, at what point do we say, okay, and I think everyone goes through their own healing journey, everyone goes through their own learning journey. But those small changes, make a massive difference. This is what we mean by shifting our consciousness. So please, think over these different things. And the last thing I think I have, to just share with you guys is, please stop blindly believing the system is going to save you. That's really like not what our ancestors fought for. This is not what our ancestors sacrificed their life for. For example, certain words in Sanskrit have been distorted to place them onto modern paradigms, and we need to understand that the only authority is the divine connection with spirit, our intuition, our cosmic intelligence, and as we start to transmute the shadows within ourselves, we can start to actually expand. Our consciousness does affect matter, our consciousness does affect the things happening outside of us, and so keep going, keep going, don't give up. Truth, love, spirit always wins. And we are it. At the end of the day, we are it. So thank you so much for listening. I hope some of this made sense. If it didn't, I don't really care, but thank you, and I'm wishing you all a beautiful evening. We are going through a very challenging and chaotic time, and there's no denying that. But yeah, wake up.